All right. So this week we are going to play some Seven Pirates H. Do you have any questions, sir?
Oh man, it's not at this point. I don't think it's so many questions as opposed to just shock. Um, this is a we're from mygamer.com, by the way. Maybe I should back up real quick. We're from mygamer.com. Go there, put us in your favorites. You can follow me on Twitter at ZachGaz, ZACKGAZ. And I've been covering, if you've been following my work over the last, especially the last like 2 years, I've been covering a lot of EastAsiaSoft games, and they're actually one of my favorite game companies now. They've been releasing games. They release games almost every week, and sometimes even multiple games each week. And normally they release these games that are these very small, $4, $6, $8 games. And I love them. There are a lot of times they're like really good games. It's just based around like one gimmick, and it just very well done. So this game is a $40 game, which is kind of unusual, I think, kind of for EastAsiaSoft from the normal, games that cost a few bucks each week, let alone one with content such as this. So I know this is a boob training RPG. I don't know too much about it. I know you've been playing it, and you're the local anime babe expert. So why don't you explain what this is here?
It's the fourth game in a series. But it's like I'm trying to think of how to. None of the it's like Final Fantasy. None of them are really related.
Okay, sure.
Like there was like Moe Chronicle and um those types of games. They're very similar. The other ones were kind of dungeon crawlery, more first person dungeon. One of them was at least first person
Hmm.
dungeon crawling, but
Hmm.
uh, they're pretty much tonally at least in the same vein. You get a lot of monster girls, yeah, pervertedness, that kind of fun stuff.
Hmm. Hmm. And apparently there's a way to like train your boobs and make
Oh,
them bigger or
I'll
stronger,
happily
or
show
I'm
you.
sure, yes, this is, I hope we don't get banned, by the way, whether it's
I saw
Twitch or
someone else
YouTube or
streaming it, so yeah.
okay, so
Hopefully we'll be
hopefully
fine. Yeah.
hopefully it is streamable. So I guess we'll maybe get a ding. We'll see if
Yeah.
we'll see what happens.
No problem at
Worth a
all.
shot though. Definitely want to give this a shot though.
Yeah, no, and I really enjoy this game. It's more of a simplistic RPG. Um, there's not a huge ton of depth to it. Um, for instance, I had a friend who bought this game when it came out on like Thursday or Friday,
Yeah.
based on my recommendation, and he beat the entire thing over the weekend.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's not super long. I believe he said something like 20. He had like 20 hours in it or something like that.
Hmm. Hmm.
But yeah, it's fun. I like it a lot. Um, the boobs, as you can see.
Yeah, that's hard to not see.
Well, so here's like my complaint. If you see how those are like completely ridiculous and dumb looking,
Yeah.
it is that when you do increase them, they don't always look great. Sometimes it's very like she ended up, as I described it, Madonna from the early 90s.
Sure.
So,
Understood.
yeah, like pointy.
So like the bigger they are, the more like the stronger your attacks are. Something, is
The
there a
bigger they are, but
correlation?
the lower your agility. So
Of
you
course,
move slower with bigger boobs.
yes. I mean, well, that only make, and you probably have lower back pain.
Yeah, yeah. And there's like different stats and stuff, but it's very interesting how you have to level up the boobs. And I'll
I think it's actually kind of refreshing to see an RPG that's like a turn-based battle system. I feel like every RPG that comes out these days has to have some kind of like a gimmick. It might be some type of a real-time situation, but you just don't really see too many just kind of straight up turn-based RPGs, I don't think anymore.
yeah. So
Traditional.
And this one is, aside from the boob mechanic, pretty traditional. And the
Hmm.
boob mechanic is, it's, the way I would describe it is sort of like the Shin Megami Tensei games, where you control how your character levels up. So your character levels up and they just give you stat points. So you get boob enhancement extract in this, and then you can choose where they go.
That's when you level up,
Yeah, yeah, you
or you
have
got to
boob.
use like an item or something.
Yes, and I'll show you all about that in a minute.
What about outfits? Is there some type of an outfit
There,
mechanic, or they all like come with like the one outfit? And you just
I
that's what it
think I
is.
saw something about that, like in the DLC, but I'm not huge into changing outfits of characters.
Mm.
Oh, the poor succubus is hungry. Oh, and that guy is in all of four of the game series. He's, as far as I can tell, the only thing that really connects them.
And he's a seal.
Thing,
What? Is,
just a thing.
yeah, I was like, but he's using a bikini top like as an eye patch,
Yep.
because why wouldn't you do that in this game?
Yeah. No. Well, I mean, that's sort of his thing.
That's what it is.
And there are lots of monsters that look like penises and fun things like that. All right. Yeah. And now they're just going to complain for a while. It can get a little talky, but most RPGs can.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there isn't really any gaming news going. And E3 is not happening this year.
E3's might not happen like ever. I mean, it didn't happen the last couple. It was all like virtual, but it wasn't really. It's definitely not what it used to be like when we were going many, many years ago. That's for
Yeah.
sure.
Well, and even then, they were opening it to, it was like starting
T-
to be like a week long, and they were opening it to the public.
Yeah, that's when it
I
got.
heard I heard a ton of
Yeah,
stories though that when they were like open, when they were about to open it to the public, people just like grabbed their shit and left. They're like, no,
yeah, because the last day, yeah,
we have
right.
nothing that's like ready for the public to be. I mean, we went to E3 and I can remember seeing a couple demos when they're like, when people would just straight up say to us, yeah, this isn't, it's going to be weird here and here. You're in the press, so you're theoretically supposed to be able to overlook it and be like, okay, yeah, I can see how you can pull this together.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, for a developer, it's weird because they kind of have to stop what they're like the main game that they're building and build a side quest or a side thing that they can just show at E3, which kind of stops the main development. And then, if anybody's worked a trade show before, I've worked many, at my real job, and it is exhausting. I mean, if it's just, it is, especially if you have to work multiple days in a row, like you're just standing around all day, you're talking to people, you're not really eating right, you're not drinking, it's loud. You probably have to go out and entertain in the evening. Like it's just a week of being exhausted. And so by that, especially that third or maybe that fourth day towards the end of whatever show it might be, you're just mentally drained, physically you're exhausted, you're probably getting sick, you haven't eaten well, you've probably been boozing, you haven't had a piece of fruit or a healthy meal or a vegetable in a while, like you just don't feel good. And then that's what E3 is, especially when it became open to the public that last day. I think it was, like, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or whatever the day, was regular media and like a regular E3, and then they opened up like that last day where the commoner can buy a ticket for $100, whatever it was, and then get in and just walk around. But nobody wants to, none of those developers wanted to work that last day. They're not
Yeah.
getting anything out of it. They're just already exhausted. They don't want to be there. They just want to go back home, sleep, and then get back to work. Yeah, this is the Switch version. Do you have to use the touch screen, or can you just use like analog flickings?
It tells you how to do it with not the touch screen.
Okay, oh, rotating, yeah, left stick. Oh, there we go. Size up, size down, click and drag, all the good stuff, all the good motions that you need.
So yeah, that's just sort of how it is done. And she is, so I'm doing stuff like her defense to go up. Um, I guess it's increasing her attack, which is
It,
interesting.
Yeah. Draw out the power is what it said there at the
And
bottom of
the
the
funny
screen.
thing is, this isn't the first fucking time that a game has done something like this.
Sure, sure.
And it's sad that I know that offhand.
I just like how they lean into it. They're not. I mean, this is. I mean, you got.
I absolutely love it when places just fucking.
Yeah, they like we don't care. We're just
Yep.
gonna go with it. We're gonna make these characters ridiculous. We're gonna give them horns. We'll make them pirates. Like, we'll give them crazy outfits. They're not shy about. They're putting this front and center, and they are not shy about it. Pinch and press.
Okay, perkiness. Okay, this. It that's one of my complaints though. Is some of the actions, like you'll be making the boobs bigger and all of a sudden it'll be like, oh, they, this one up too, and it's like, I didn't want that, son of a bitch.
So you get in a ship, and then now you got to go over here because that's where the quest is.
Yeah, so you complete
Un-
requests and you get access, and they'll give you requests, and the requests will be anything from slay a monster, give us items, standard
hmm,
things. Okay, yeah. So when you fill a
ah.
quest, yeah, so things that look like penises. When you fulfill a quest, I don't. Oh, what is that? Okay, uh, cook. I thought that was another word. Sorry. Um.
You got the font, the choice of
Yeah.
font.
Well, it was going by really fast. I'm like, wait
Yes,
a minute. Is there an extra C in that word? Uh. Yeah. So, like, yeah. This is like, it's hard to make their boobs look not like that.
right. Torpedoes.
Yes, absolutely. There's no real. You can get monsters from behind and everything, but there's no, like the Atelier games. You can swing a sword or something like that.
Right.
Those are interesting. Most of your stats, like you do get stats from from doing the boob stuff and leveling up that way,
Hmm.
but a lot of what the stats come from is. Give me one second. A lot of where the stats come from are the equipment.
Ah, okay.
So your bras are
You,
typically static. You'll get like status ailment things, and then
hmm.
with the panties, you can see that's where the your stats
Oh,
are.
yeah, yeah. Of course, because you got to put your hips into it. That's how you build. That's how you get the power in
Yes,
your
no, of
in your when
course.
you're
There's
when
lots of logic
yeah
behind all of this.
when you're swinging your swords and your wands and tridents.
I love that you just kind of trailed and I don't know, tried. Fuck it, I
It's
don't
like
know.
whatever. This one chick had a trident. I don't know like right there.
Yeah,
There's the trident.
I know, man. I'm just fucking with you.
You got a samurai sword. You got a What was that? What is that stick? The other one has some kind of a.
One of them is
That's
a
there's
gun
a gun. Yeah,
stick. Oh,
that
that?
right there. Yeah. What was that?
I think
It's
it
too
might just be a stick.
or like a cello or something. It's too fat. I couldn't see what it was.
Yeah, but that's a lot. The game it doesn't take itself too seriously. It knows exactly what it is.
How do you know where to go? Is there some kind of an indicator that I'm not
So
seeing
the
here? That
top right, there's a compass.
okay.
Or sorry,
Top.
I'm an
Yeah.
idiot. Left. That direction
Yeah.
is left.
Yeah. And the red mark.
Uh,
There's like a red mark
I
on the
know the
compass. Yeah.
compass points to where you're supposed to be going.
Okay. That's my biggest thing, especially with RPGs, is like, I don't have a ton of time to sit down and play a game, for 40 hours, let alone like, I feel like an RPG, you have to like, if you don't play it in like 2 hour increments or more, like when like one sitting,
Yeah,
you don't make any
yeah.
progress. It's going to take forever.
A lot of the time, you literally just want to sit down and play a game sometimes quickly.
Yeah. And my thing is like, I don't, like if I play a game for a few hours and then I quit and then I come back to it like a week or weeks
The
later,
asparagus has bras and panties on.
even that's a nice touch. And then you're like, I don't know where to go. I don't know what I was doing. I don't remember
And then
what the
you get
story
the
was.
issue with like the newer Final Fantasies that you just straight up don't remember the combat system.
Yeah, there needs to be a working adult button when it's like, hey, we noticed you haven't played this game in a week. You want to hit this button and remember how to play the game with a quick story summary? Why, yes, I would. Hit that button.
So I started playing a fun story about that kind of thing. I started playing Monster Hunter on the PC, and I got really confused because I couldn't figure out where the lock on button was. And then it wasn't working when I looked it up, and I couldn't figure it out. And I'm like, man, and is it the controller? Is it dying? No, it turns out
Mhm.
that there's like a mission that you have to complete first. So sometimes if you've played previous games in the series and you know there's a mechanic that's supposed to be there and
Yes.
it's not,
Yes.
yeah, that's fun too.
And then you're just kind of struggling. You're trying to figure it out. Then you get frustrated and then you rage quit forever.
Yep,
At least
absolutely.
that's what happens to me a lot of the time.
Yeah, just because you haven't played in a week. All right, so that has been Seven Pirates H.
Yeah.
Have I changed your opinion of the game?
I mean, it for some reason, just in the I mean, I don't hate the game or anything like that by any means. Again, it's another EastAsiaSoft game, and I really like their work. Just from watching the battle scenes, I'm getting kind of like a Wild Arms 1 vibe, which is, just again, it's like the traditional RPG that
Yeah,
you don't
there's
see a lot anymore today because there's always everybody's got to have a gimmick and make it
it has to be different every time. It can't be this
faster or
yup.
whatever. Yeah, it's got
Or
to be
like
like
you
their
have
own
to have
thing.
a rage gauge or
Yeah, limit breakers and like crazy, yeah, dual attacks, something, whether or just go straight up real time, like a Xenoblade where you're just kind of like positioning your character, then they just like auto fight. But yeah, here it's just again, it's just kind of like refreshing or almost new in 2022 to just kind of go back and play a traditional RPG, let alone one that's totally ridiculous, but that's what this game is. Those are the types of the people. If you buy this game, you know exactly what you want,
that's
what
what
you're
I said
getting.
in my that's what I said with the review too is that if you if you see this game and you think it's interesting, it's probably for you. If you see this game and you're like,
Yeah, you
what?
scoff at
No.
it. Yeah,
Yeah,
you're like,
then
and
it's not for
it's
you. This game knows its
yeah,
audience.
exactly. Like it knows its audience and
It's
the
just going to be
audience.
fun and ridiculous, and
Yes, yes,
that's all it
100%.
is.
So yeah, this is Seven Pirates H. You can follow us at mygamer.com and we are at mygamernews on Twitter. And then you can follow me at Zach Gaz on Twitter, ZACKGAZ. And until next time, thank you for watching and game on.